Hey folks, welcome back to the kitchen here at Mark Kelly Farm. It's the day after Thanksgiving. Of course, you're going to be watching this later than that, but we're going to give you an idea of stuff to do with your leftovers from your holiday meals. So stick around. We'll show you what we got up our sleeve. So yesterday I intervened and I rescued these two ham bones before they got to the garbage bin. This younger generation, boy, I tell you, your ancestors would never throw this stuff away. Ever, ever, ever. So luckily we got them. They said, oh, take them. We were just going to throw them away. I got a bunch of turkey stuff too. But anyway, we're going to make split pea soup today.
2 bowls of split pea soup to go.
First part of our operation is we're going to cook these two ham bones down in our automatic pressure cooker, which is just basically an Instapot. This was made years before the Instapot came around, so it's nothing new. It's not new technology. So we're going to put this baby in here, and we're going to set this thing to cook for, I'd say, about 90 minutes. We want to cook down pretty far. I'm going to add just a little bit more liquid in here, maybe get us about half full. And then once this is done cooking, all of that meat will just fall off the bones, and we'll show you what that looks like when this is all done. Well, we've been working outside all day. We've just come in. Our pressure cooker was done, and it was on stay warm mode like it does. So I picked all the bones out of the pressure cooker. You can see how clean they came out after 90 minutes. Look at all the ham that was left on those bones. And then we got 4 cups of our cooking liquid, and we're going to need about 6 to 7 cups. So we're going to augment with our good chicken broth that we made the other day. So we're going to get on our next step, which is melting a 1/4 cup of butter, and then we're going to add 2 cups of onion, 1 cup of diced celery, 1 cup of diced carrots. All of those are diced, and we're going to soften them up in this pot. We'll stir those around until they soften up, and then we'll tell you what's next. Kelly made some beautiful sourdough bread to go with our split pea soup tonight. Now that the veggies have sweat just a little bit, we put in a teaspoon of salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and we're going to let that go for a little bit. And then once we start getting a little color on the vegetables a little bit, we're going to add our next ingredient. Starting to get some color on the Trinity in here. So the next thing we're going to add is about 3/4 teaspoon of dry thyme, or it would be 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme if you have it. And then we're going to add about 2 cloves worth of minced garlic, because we don't want that to cook very long. And we're going to cook that about a minute. That oil in the pan is going to wake that dry thyme back up. And then that garlic's going to heat up and start giving off some of its flavor. But you don't want to cook the garlic too long in such a hot skillet. We're cooking on high right now. And then after a minute, we're going to add our stock. Okay, we're ready for the stock. We're going to dump 6 cups of our cooking liquid from the ham and a pint of our good chicken stock. We're going to bring this up to a simmer. We're going to throw 1 bay leaf in here, and we'll let that stock cook those vegetables down even further and soften up those carrots, and then we'll move on. We've let this simmer for about 15 minutes. We're going to add 2 cups of water, and we're going to bring this back to a simmer. And as soon as it comes back to a simmer, we're going to add 1 pound of split peas. Comes in a bag just like this, and they're dry. All right, we're back to a simmer. So now we're going to dump in our split peas. You grab the bottom of that bag. So that's a whole pound. We'll stir those in. Now we're going to come back to a simmer and we're going to reduce our heat down to low where it's just barely bubbling. Now we're going to simmer those peas for about 50 minutes to an hour depending on your liking. I like the peas to have just a tiny little bit of bite left in them. I don't like to cook the soup just to complete mush. But some people like it that way. Some people will even put an immersion blender in the pot and smooth out the whole pot of soup. However, I like it a little more rustic. I like to still see the peas in the soup, so we're going to eat it that way. Now while we're waiting for these peas to cook, I'm going to show you a shot of the recipe. A lot of people are complaining that I don't provide written recipes. So I'll show you a shot right now. You can pause your screen, screenshot it, print it, write it down, do whatever you want to do. Now, if you're not a fan of the split peas, you could substitute some like dry white beans in here, but obviously you'd have to add additional cooking time to rehydrate those beans. If you wanted to use just a plain canned white bean that's already cooked, I would drain those and maybe not add the water, the 2 cups of water into the mix. And you could even back off on the broth just a little bit probably and do it that way if you didn't want to cook the beans all day long. But beans would be a good substitution if you don't like the peas. Look at that. Good cracker right there. Now if you don't have a ham bone, a good substitution is bacon. Cook a pound of bacon to your desired doneness. Let it cool, chop it all up real fine, and then use the bacon grease to saute your vegetables instead of the butter, and just substitute it that way and it'll be just fine. You might even like it better. Alright, we've gone about 55 minutes. You can see that the peas have all softened up and you can actually still see some peas, whereas a lot of pea soups, they just cook it like crazy. So now we're going to take our ham. You can chop this up, but I like a nice bite when I bite into the ham. So I'm going to leave it like this, but again, your choice. We're going to dump that in the soup. And then we're going to bring this back to a simmer to where the meat is heated back up again. And then it's ready to eat. Look at that. Doesn't that look phenomenal? We're almost there. So I don't think I told you, you take that bay leaf out before you add your ham back into the pot because it's done its work. And then serve it with some nice crusty bread or some oyster crackers or something like that. Super good. How do you think that'll be on a cold Nebraska night? That looks amazing. Cannot wait to dig into that. As usual, check it for salt before you serve it. Make sure you've got a good balance there. But good thing to do with your Thanksgiving leftovers. Use that ham bone, or you can cook it anytime, like I said, with bacon or something like that. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Hope you try this recipe. We'll see you on the next video.